A million questions I want to ask, but rereading some of the Fire and Ice books, I was thinking about Reek. Could you talk a little bit about that character? Because honestly, Tyrion is a lot of fun to read and anticipate, but Reek absolutely just tortures me to read those chapters. It just really kind of just gets to me. Can you talk about what?
Of course, there are three Reeks. You know, there's the original Reek, who is dead. And then there was the fake Reek, who was actually Ramsay Bolton, who pretended to be Reek because, he didn't want to be executed.
The final Reek. Right?
And then the final Reek, who is, of course, Theon Greyjoy, who is being made into Reek, his personality destroyed by torture by Ramsay. You know, I wanted to show the disintegration of a personality and the things that can happen, under sufficient amount of torture and, breaking someone's mind and will. Hard stuff to write. Although, to be fair to myself, I didn't actually write most of it. I presented most of it in flashback, as opposed to the TV show, which actually showed a lot more of it. But in the books, I skip over most of that. I let you think that Theon is dead for a while, and then Reek comes back, and hopefully it takes you a while to realize who it actually is.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Swana, and I want to say thank you first for writing the books, because they were my escape from a not-so-pretty neighborhood in Brooklyn that I grew up in.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
And it's kind of a two-part question. You said that every character has a portion of you. What part does the character of Bran have of you, and why do you find it so hard to write Bran?
Bran is the youngest of all the viewpoint characters. That's why he's the hardest to write. And he's also the one most involved with magic. And these are both the challenges. When you're writing from the viewpoint of a young child, you can't just write what's happening. You have to write what's happening. You have to make it clear to the reader what's actually happening. But you have to phrase it from the child's eyes. What does the child think is happening? For example, in the very first Bran chapter, where the second Bran chapter, where he catches Jaime and Cersei having sex, he doesn't know about sex. He's like 7 years old, and he just sees naked people wrestling or something like that. He's not quite comprehending. But you have to do that kind of thing with life. You can't just write what's happening. You have to look at every sentence and say, okay, this is what's happening. I got to make it clear so the reader understands, but I got to put it through the eyes of an 8-year-old or a 7-year-old. So that's part of the challenge. And the other part of it is magic. A fantasy novel requires magic, but it has to be handled very carefully. I think, obviously, you can see in Ice and Fire a basically low magic approach to fantasy. Many fantasies are very high magic. Almost all of them are more high magic than what I do. And to my mind, that's the problem with a lot of them, because magic, you can put too much magic in, and it can potentially destroy a thing. It's like a little salt in a stew. A little makes the stew taste better. Too much salt, and you've ruined the stew. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Marissa, and thank you again for coming to Roanoke. I'm really interested in how many point of view characters you have in the Song of Ice and Fire books.
Too many. I'm planning on killing some of them. Some of them never meant to be point of view characters. They just push their way in. They were rude and annoying and pushy.
I have 3 in my book, and I originally had 4 and just had to get rid of one. So it was too much. So how do you balance having so many point of view characters? Do you ever go like, oh crap, I have 2 Arya sections too close together and have to shuffle things around?
Yeah, I do that constantly. You'd be amazed how much time I spend reshuffling the order of the chapters. Hopefully it got a laugh here too many, but in some ways it is true. Certain events I wanted to portray I could never quite find the right point of view character to capture the scene, so I wound up using multiple point of view characters. You know, in the last book, I talked a great deal on my blog about the Marinese knot. You know, I kept rewriting those chapters in Marine because I had like 3 or 4 point of view characters coming together, and you know, people who were traveling to Marine. Danny was already in Marine, and other people were traveling to Marine, and they were arriving, and what order should they arrive in? And I would write the chapter, and then I would rewrite the chapter. No, this one should arrive first, and I would rewrite the chapter, and because that would change everything. But some of the people would arrive, they didn't speak the language, they didn't really know what was going on. I'm trying to present some fairly complicated political maneuverings and plots from the viewpoint of someone who doesn't speak the language or know anybody. That was difficult. And I finally solved the Marinese knot. I finally cut through it after several different approaches by introducing Sir Barristan as a viewpoint character. And that was the solution. But it also gave me another point of view character that I didn't originally intend to be a point of view character. So, you know, sometimes that's the way it happens.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Justin. I also want to thank you for coming out to see us.
My pleasure.
I know we've seen a lot of what happens to various Star Children over the course of the books, but one of them seems to have really fallen off the map. What's going on with Rickon?
Keep reading.
I definitely plan on it.